Ready?
Non-24.
We're doing breaths? Nah, I don't even... I feel like I get too relaxed.
Just riff in. Let's go.
Hi guys, welcome back to this episode of Path of Purpose. We are here with the Brotherhood team, and just like you, we are walking on a journey to unlocking ways to live a life of purpose.
G'day listeners, and welcome to episode 15 of the Path of Purpose. We are back with the team. We're all together here. Guysy is back from Bali. Arrived a couple of days ago, right?
Yeah, got at 11:20 p.m. Actually, it was delayed, so we left it after midnight. So it was bridging into the earlier hours of that would have been Saturday morning. So yeah, I came. Friday morning. So yeah, I flew out on Friday. Must have got about 4 hours sleep on the plane, and then I made that decision. I was like, I'm not going to go back to sleep now. I'm going to ride this out. There was one point in the day, it was like that kind of 2 or 3 p.m. and I got a bit tired. And I was like, right, go for a swim, get back into the cycle of just being back here.
Have a good sleep at night.
Yeah, and then have a good sleep right through, and then coached Gladiator and trained it the next morning.
Nice.
And now I'm just back in the cycle, you know.
Yeah.
No loss, no jet lag. And I reckon that worked really, really well. And I'm actually grateful that there was a late flight, you know, like 11:20.
It's no better feeling sometimes going to bed real tired.
Oh, yeah. And then,
Well,
slept well.
Fresh thoughts, initial thoughts from the trip to Bali?
Yeah. So, pretty exciting sort of stuff. I was over there with a guy called Ferg Baker, it turns out we filmed a podcast actually, which will come out after this. So stay tuned for that one. And he was my first week. I was sort of solo. I had no itinerary. And that's I had no agenda on what I was going to do apart from the first day I booked my tickets, my first night accommodations when I got there, and then. The rest was just free flow and just allow myself to be guided by what I was called to. And I've spoken to a few people, and there was even an English couple that I spoke to and when I was over there in Nusa Lembongan, which was the first place that I went to. And I said, "Oh, how are you guys going? How are you finding the travel?" They're like, yeah, it's pretty good, blah, blah, blah. And they seemed a little bit shut off from everything else that was happening kind of around, like in terms of a travelling experience, I felt like. And I was like, oh yeah, do you guys like, have you got a plan? Do you know where you're going? And they're like, oh, absolutely, yeah, I hate not knowing where I'm going. You know, I hate not knowing the next step. And I was like, oh, that kind of sucks a little bit of the life out of
spontaneity.
I feel it's like, so I was like, oh, is it like, how's it been going? Like, and they're like, oh yeah, there's some places we wish we'd stayed at longer and stuff like this. But so that's just how I enjoyed traveling, is not having that agenda, allowed for wherever my heart was called or whatever I felt like doing. Like when it's time to move on, you kind of fucking know. Or if there's someone that you meet along the way that's like, yeah, definitely check this spot out, man. Like it was awesome. And it's like, oh, okay, we'll go do that. And you know, so when I was in Nusa Lembongan on the third day, and I met on the third day, and I drove across to this island and met this Kiwi couple, and they're like, oh, we're going diving with manta rays tomorrow. Like, do you want to come? And I was like, geez, that's something I'd never considered. And then in that nature of that all happening for me, it was like, fuck yeah, let's do it. And went out there and
nice.
And I was like one of the only people to see the manta ray. That's cool. Because the Kiwi couple didn't see it, I like was in the water the second time, and I was like, because I told myself the first time, I'm like, while I was in the water, I'm like, I'm gonna see it. I'm gonna see that fucking manta ray. And then it's funny because you're like, I'm gonna see that manta ray, and then holy hell, man, when you actually see a manta ray in this big, you know, it was probably as wide as this room, which is, you know, we're talking like 3 meters wide wingspan, and it's just like floating so majestically, this big creature through the water. And
cool.
That's
crazy.
Yeah, it was just like this, such a mind-boggling experience. Like it really just oh fuck, like it took,
Awestruck.
yeah, awestruck, bro. Perfect way to put it, I'd say, because yeah, it's just like a mythical creature to us, hey, that's had such presence, and I caught it from the back end. And then when I manifested to see it the second time, I was like, I want to see that manta ray a second time, not for me, but for the other guys, so they get to experience that as well. And I saw it a second time, but they were already aboard the boat. But yeah,
was it far away? Were you close?
So both times I caught it from back, so I saw it coming away from me, but my heart just like.
Yeah.
Whew, the old heart rate gets up because it's like so. I think it's because like uncharted waters, or we're out of our territory or our comfort zone, and it's like you kind of feel a little bit vulnerable. It's like, but
manta ray whisperer.
Even though they're not going to harm you, but yeah, it was.
Cool.
Yeah,
So
but
at least you were open and didn't have any pre-plans, so that probably allowed you to just jump at that opportunity. Which is cool.
Exactly, yeah, and so I would recommend for people, especially because I see my intention going in was to go into the unknown, and how can you dive into the unknown if everything's planned? You know, so that was me. But the one certainty I had was I was going to meet up with Ferg on my second week, and then it was just great staying with him. Like, he had a villa there. His housemate just so happened to be away for that week, so
cool.
Uncle Guyzy slotted straight in, which was pretty cool. And and then we just sort of just got to hang out. I got to experience this like kind of lifestyle that he was living. They go out for dinner every day there. Like, it's just part of like their meals that don't really have at home, because I guess like it's one of those things of valuing your time over money, in that sense of like trying to save money through not cooking, but it's cheaper there. And I didn't find it to be cheaper by much, to be fair. Like, I would have on average been spending, easy $20 a meal, I'd say. By the time you get your coffee, and that's not much less cheap. But anywho, and so I got to live their sort of working sort of lifestyle that they've got and they've made for themselves over there, which is pretty cool. But we've planned out a Brotherhood Bali retreat.
Yeah, nice.
Which is going to be in October.
It's exciting, eh?
Yeah, so it's going to be really, really cool. And the intention for that would just be to take a holistic approach to a retreat and a getaway, for it to not so much be about the deeper inner workings, but more so like, let's have some fun. Let's do some stuff that's out of the ordinary, and have fun together and connect on a deeper level. So, that was the travels.
That's awesome. Is there anything that like surprised you, or like any surprise takeaways, or anything that surprised you about the trip?
Yeah, I just having that time to come from a place of like how do I want to go about this trip, and I did use it as a bit of a working holiday, but I just did things that I wanted to do, which was kind of like working. I wanted to catch up. I was behind, asking myself in those moments of like, do I feel like I have to work, or do I just not know life without working? You know, and you know, there'd be times where I'd speak on the phone with Georgia, and she'd be like, have you got it? Have you maybe you want to step away from that laptop for a bit and stuff? And I was, you know, like I was just in a cafe, just like soaking it up, and you know, doing these little things. And then when I realised, I'm like, I want to stretch my legs, I'd go for a big walk. I'd go walk the rice terrace, meet some people, run around barefoot. People thought I was crazy. So that was. It just made me probably realise it's like, man, I am probably living the life that, you know, I want to live, because, and I listen to you guys' podcast, and he's over there doing, you know, he's working and doing, you know, it sounds like he's pretty aligned, and I was like, fuck, I am, you know, like how lucky am I? And it just made me grateful for all the people who having you guys hold the fort down while I was away, and that trust there, you know, which was really cool. And then also just sort of realigning myself with my purpose and what do I actually want, and having time to intentionally focus on that for myself. Yeah. So that was really special too.
It's pretty cool how like you're over in Bali living the dream. Like everyone loves to go to Bali, holiday and whatnot. But it's probably pretty similar to what you do here. Beach just there, Quest Cafe, go work in the cafe, all that sort of stuff. Like
I said that to the guys this morning. I was like, because you know, I know you love travel, and I. But man, like you know, for me, it's like being here is like feel like I'm kind of traveling every day.
You seem like you love being back in the environment today. Like we went and got a coffee at Quest, which is a bit of a ritual. We do on Monday, and guys, obviously been around the place a lot, and he's like, "Hey, how you going, mate?" Someone else, "Oh, you got a haircut? Like, you looking good, mate? Oh, yep, got this." You can just see, you know, you're laughing up, and there's something so good about when you do commit to a place and you stay there, and then you start to build these relationships with the people in your immediate environment, and that's a really great part of life. It's just even those small little interactions with maybe you don't work with these people, but you cross paths with them and they're in the same environment, which is so cool. Yeah, you know, you can see you're loving that today.
Yeah, well, Cass, and you were meditations today, and you'd like asked like, what's something that you're grateful for? And I did say I'm grateful to be down here working out in the rain with all you guys, and there was only 5 or 6 of us, and I thought, why the hell are more people not here? Because I was just in that meditation just going, this is so damn good. Like, this is like, we've just trained in the rain. Like, I don't know, man. There's something to that which I think a lot of people are missing out on, not stepping into those things of that comfort of sleeping in. I feel like you're going to regret more sleeping in, not getting out there.
You never feel worse for a workout.
No. It's just, especially in the winter and that, it's just the hardest part is showing up. Once you show, like I did Monday Motion last week and it was in the rain as well. And once you've done that and sitting there in the rain, and then afterwards, and you're like, the day's only 6:30. You feel fucking charged up.
Totally.
You know, it's just making that initial just show up, get there, and just be okay with being a bit uncomfortable and cold.
Yeah, I was doing the breath work and I just felt so warm, and I just felt like maybe that was the aura of everyone in that environment together or something, and it was just I don't know why more people aren't doing that. That's what it made me think. It's like, why aren't people out here doing this? Why aren't they?
Comfort, I reckon.
Oh,
I think it's like, comfort, you know.
It's also probably just not knowing for a lot of people.
Yeah.
Like, not knowing how good that can feel. Choose comfort because you don't know how good of a morning you can have.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like, it's just what... And it becomes really normal for people to just sleep in and not do anything.
Yeah.
Like, it's pretty normal for people to be inactive nowadays. Yeah.
It's such a shame, I feel, because I just think there's so much to gain from that, like the way that I'm feeling so charged, and you know, like the other thing I was grateful for while I was down there is the quality of the people around me. Like, just everyone's just such a good-hearted human, I feel, and that is, you know, can be pretty rich to come by. That's something that we're big on, is like trying to bring more of those people together and then have that ripple outwards, so there are more good quality humans in the world. And yeah, that can probably sort of lead in what I think we've sort of outlined leading into this. We want to sort of go into the community aspects of our discussion, and you know, just touch on what we do, why we do it, and how we do it, and then go from there maybe.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. Well, if you're listening, you know, you probably know that, we're all involved with Brotherhood, which is, we say it's like a community first and then a gym second.
Yeah.
Kind of thing. And I feel like community is one of the parts of life that in modern life has been slept on, and probably causing a lot of depression and downstream effects that are not good for one's life. So maybe, we'll go through like how our community is different, and maybe we'll start with how you do begin your first steps with our community. Like what's, you know, do you want to talk on that?
Yeah. So when you decide to put yourself out there, get out of your comfort zone, you know, and what we do is we work entirely with men, and I think that's half the challenge is, the stigma that we're up against at Brotherhood is that's gay, to work out with purely just men or to be surrounded in a circle of just men. But that's our point of difference. That's what makes us so successful too, is, you come on board on a Spartan 60-day challenge, which is 60 days where the intention for that is to build integrity and discipline with yourself, but also to show up for the rest of the community. Hey, do you have what it takes to become a member of this community? Because we want guys around us that we can trust, that we can lean on, that can support us, that are going to spread positivity and be so aware of the language that we're using. In your book that you gave me is with the 4 agreements, he calls it poison. It's like someone's word that they're using, if they're not aware of what they're saying, they can be trying to give you some of their poison. Pardon me. For example, like, someone's beliefs or their projections that they're holding within themselves internally by saying, he used the example of, oh, you're ugly. And it's like, if you're not aware that that's just something that person is facing internally, or that they feel so not confident, or they don't hold as much love for themselves, to therefore feel the need to cast that outward just to make them feel better, then you've got to be aware that that's not your poison to take on. That's a
bad trait that happens in humans' lives, like society, is pulling someone else down to make you feel better, which is we've all done it. I've done it,
totally.
And it's like, that ain't the way I want to be living, and I think bringing it back to the community is one of the big differences here is everyone pulls each other up.
Totally.
It's so supportive. Someone's described it as like a footy team, where you're all connected and, we are all on a mission together. But everyone's super supportive.
Yeah, everyone wants you to win.
Everyone wants you to win, yeah, that was it. And you don't really, amongst men, it can be quite competitive, but and we can be have games and we do little competitive things, but I think one of the biggest differences here is everybody wants you to win, and with that support, you do see everybody rise, and it's
totally.
like to have brothers that also want you to win. That in on itself is super powerful, and there's many other aspects that we can go into that make it different as well. But yeah, that 60-day initiation is, what you do to become a member. So it's like, a 60-day, you realise if you're the right fit, everyone sort of realises you're the right fit, you go through a challenge. So it's like, men don't often get this initiation as sort. So, you go through the trail of fire to a degree. You've got certain standards to uphold to, and you got to do your best, and then you can sort of you obviously get a big transformation from that, but then it feels good becoming a member. It's like you do the challenge, you earn your spot, which is pretty cool. Not, you go to an Anytime Fitness or something like that. It's just like you pay your key tag and you're a member, and nobody talks to each other, or nobody it's very toxic, where ours is very, we want to know who we're training with. We want to be a community, so it's a big network as well. Guys get work together, that's supporting each other. It's sort of it's very, community is helping one another rise, and in the world where it's more individuated and this solo entrepreneur and this and that, it's can be very isolating. A lot of people are isolated. You work from home, you better order your food from home, you can do everything from home. But community is what connects us to one another and makes us feel human. So it's having that aspect to it, where makes it a strong community, and it's so important. And what maybe we could go like what makes a strong. Have you got one?
I was just going to say the initiation process is like super important for our community, I think, because it does knock out a lot of the insecurities that guys might have, and then that's where guys can be uplifting because they don't feel like they need to knock people down to then feel like they're more, if that makes sense, because I think they've just broken down their own insecurities a lot more from actually going through something hard, which is the challenge.
And people realise that like egos here don't really fly. You know, if you got an ego in here and you want to be like flexing that ego and stuff, and you know, it just won't work out. You know, we're on to grow. You often have to put your ego to the side. Yeah, you know, and that's a big thing in here as well. Like, your ego's cool, and you know we can play on it here and there, like as everyone does, but realizing that like you can put that aside as well, and grow and act with your soul.
And that community part's so important for health. Like, being holistic here is like super important. I think when people think of health, they just think of nutrition and training a lot of the time. But like being a part of a community is so important for us, like emotionally and spiritually. But
there's a lot of people as well. Like with we do have those guys that might come across our ads and stuff like this, and look at what we do as a lifeline for them to finally pull themselves out of a rut, or to finally, you know, these guys are going to save me. And it's not that at all. It's like, we're not going to save you. You're going to choose to save yourself. We can give you the tools. But for those guys that don't want to feel like they need to do the work themselves, or, you know, that it's going to be spoon-fed, it's not what we encourage. To be a man in today's society means that you have a lot of responsibility. And some guys can go, oh, fuck, I hate being a man because I've got to be responsible for so many things. Too bad. Like, it's just how, like, it is. It's just, like, to be a man in today's society, it's like you can't hold that victim mindset towards, oh, poor me. I've got responsibilities. It's like that comes with the role, man. That comes with being a man. And I think there's like guys out there now that want to have the easy road, want to have the comfort road of like not accepting that. And it's like, as soon as you can accept the fact that, being a man comes with certain responsibilities that I have to uphold and standards, the better your life is going to become, because accepting that and just taking a breath in and fucking soaking that up and is super important.
Which means you're not going to be living in comfort all the time. And that, like, being uncomfortable and having, like, this discomfort, it's like, oh, yeah, like, maybe you're doing something right, because it's like you're pushing yourself. You're at your edge. You know, you're uncomfortable. Things are hard. You know, we want to be peaceful and happy, which is definitely want those aspects in our life, but having times where we're uncomfortable and that's what's going to make us grow.
That creates the peace. Just on that, like, guys, he sort of said there that we're not going to do it for you, but I think guys that then recognise that this is the place to do it, because we are going to hold you accountable to what you do say and what you do.
Right.
That's the important part.
Here it's like people look at you in the eye and there's no, like, it's almost you know what's going on. There's no, like, lying. And,
I think that's a good filter as well, because it's like, who can become a member of this community? And it's anyone with a growth mindset that is willing to change. Anyone that is willing to transform and become that best version of themselves, you are welcomed here. But if you aren't willing to change some of your habits, to get rid of some of those things that are holding you back, then maybe you're not ready, you know. And that's another thing that we get in that consult room as well, is people are so tied to their limitations. It's so hard to break limitations because we're so addicted to them. You know, it's like we're so used to living our life in this and what's been played out before us of like, oh, I've been doing this for my whole life. I've always had this. It's hard to get rid of those things, and it's hard to be told sometimes, hey, this isn't serving you. You're going to have to let go of this if you want to move forward in your life, and people just aren't ready to drop the shit.
Being a creature of habit is such it's like a superpower or a crutch. But once you turn your poor habits into good habits, then it's just like you're just going to do it forever.
Yeah.
And like you said, like talking about this morning session, it's like, why don't people do this? It's like just because they're so habitual in the way they live. But then when they do it, they go, oh, this is amazing.
You got to break the pattern.
Like, I think you even said this morning. You just said, like, it should be like non-negotiable. Like, yeah, well, just get up and do it. Like, this is amazing.
And I think as soon as you made that decision as well, it's like, oh, it's a non-negotiable, then it means I don't have any other option to look outside of me not pursuing.
Yeah. Like Martin Davidson, he books all these sessions on Sunday, books it all, and he's like, and it also takes away that decision fatigue. It's like, I'll just book it and like, this is what I'm doing.
Totally.
I'll just show up, do it. Like, rather than having every night, like, what am I going to do tomorrow? Like, it's just like, I'm doing these sessions and I'm just going to show up, and then frees up your thinking as well for other things. But like going back to the people and, like what I find, a lot of people that work in here that come and find us are like people that are already on the path, or they might be starting to get introduced to the path. They're getting into holistic health. They're looking into breathwork and meditation, or they're already part of that. They're training in different styles. They're realising the importance of human connection and openness and spirituality and training hard, being primal, but then also, having those softer aspects to yourself. So they're on the path, but they're maybe like a bit isolated, maybe their current friends are not doing it, or, they're just in an environment where they're not connected with other people doing it. And then they come in here and they meet all these people that are doing it as well, and it almost just accelerates their growth through that immersion with other people, and they just love it. They become friends with all these guys. There's other guys that are into breathwork, meditation. These guys, find it cool to talk about all aspects of life and growth, and it's like that. Those guys are the guys that really just take it, and you see their life just elevate. And you're like, whoa, in all the aspects, which is so cool.
I'd love to speak into a case study there, or like someone that we can utilise as like credit to that is Jayden Russo, because that guy has just like over his 60 days, he put on like close to 4 kilos of muscle. He lost close to 4 kilos of fat. Lost over 5% body fat. Yeah,
and so like funny how people in the fitness industry say, oh, you can't, there's that myth or whatever, you can't lose muscle or gain muscle and lose fat. And it's like our stats say the complete opposite.
Yeah, every single person would lose fat and gain muscle. Yeah, that comes on board. Yeah, for sure.
Which is cool.
Or if they didn't, and even I'd say to not lose muscle but lose an insane amount of fat is like still fucking really
it's
well.
It's a full body recomposition.
Absolutely. Jayden Russo though, like coming on and achieving those results, but the main thing he gained after I remember speaking with him, and he's like, man, I just thought I was alone. Like I thought I was alone with all these thoughts, my family and stuff, and all the people that I'd surround myself with, and I'd speak about some of these things, and some of these things would be spirituality, consciousness, the connection to nature, you're turning inward and cleansing your internal environment through diving deep into your past and potentially any triggers that come up that might give you an alert to look into what may be an indicator to why that is arising within you, or what about that other person makes you feel insecure, or what that is. And he thought he was fully alone in that. And so when he came across, it was Asher introduced him through upstairs. And then once he came in and tapped into this community, he realised, holy fuck, there's a whole group of like-minded men that are equally as passionate about their self-development and growth as I am. And then once he had found his tribe, like he signed up for the year, he's a member, he fully committed, he filled out his journal, some of the best journaling. Well, I didn't go into full list journaling, but every single page was filled out with, self-reflective stuff. Like he's doing the work.
Yeah, he did it.
And he's getting the results.
Did it as best he could, and then he got, great results from it. And
it's wild that he felt like the outcast just trying to live healthy.
Yeah.
Like, it was, like, that goes to show how normal it is in society to just not think about your health, which is crazy. Like,
Yeah.
I just always think, like, if you're going to learn about something, why wouldn't you learn about the life you're living, like, in a holistic way?
Yeah, how to live this life
Yeah.
as good as possible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, that's all you got, really, is this life. It's like, how quality and good can you make it?
It's like a mechanic that knows everything about a car, but knows nothing about their body. So,
Yeah.
you spend more time in your body than that car. I don't know.
Yeah. I think that should be the foundation for like anyone that's wanting to succeed in this world or live life to their fullest potential. And the basics and the fundamentals would be get your movement right and establish a good connection with your body. Get help from external advice like a trainer, a PT or whatever to help you learn the ways that your body should work in a cohesive fashion. And then optimize it with backing it with good fuel, your nutrition and your water and stuff like that. And once you got those two things down, then you've got that for life. You know how to eat correctly, you know how to train correctly, or at least move your body and have that good connection. And then you can start to look into your internal environment and it being your upgrading yourself and your human capital by learning and stuff like that.
Well, your health and your energy, like, that's your biggest assets to a degree, if that's the right word. But, like, they affect everything.
Totally.
Like your energy and your health. If you got those two down pat, you can do whatever you want better. Which is, I'm sure, we all have desires and goals and things we enjoy, and it's like you're gonna do that better if your health and energy is better.
There was that saying as well that was it Modern Wisdom or something, and he had the monk on, and he came and said like, we've got all these 1,000 things to do, or we've got these 1,000 goals to achieve, but once you lose your health, you've got only but one goal, and it's to get your health right again. And it's like absolutely true, because you can't build outside of yourself without being healthy. You can't get
taking this into, I know you said it something before, the hustle culture, right? Like, I feel like we're all ambitious, right? And we all we're building something, and but we're doing it holistically. How do you find that balance with, hustle? Like, just work through it, just fucking keep going. Who cares, sickness and that. Keep going. Or how, like, do you feel guilty if you rest, or how do you find that balance with hustle culture?
This actually sort of what I'm going to say came up in this morning's meditation with the gratitude and stuff like that. I sort of mentioned how a lot of my areas in life are kind of leading towards the same thing, so I don't feel like anything is detracting from one another. And I think even understanding that rest is like essential.
Yeah.
You need that to then be able to give again. Like Guy's story about the woodcutter, the axe. Remember that?
Sharpen his axe.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
Sharpen your axe. Yeah. So yeah. I think taking that time and knowing that it's essential for you to then push harder or push further forward next time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just knowing that what you're doing is on the path. Yeah.
Because I think some people can realize, am I just being soft, or am I not pushing my limits, or do I need to give back to myself? I think that's a fine line that people struggle with. I myself struggle with it.
I think you know the answer though.
Yeah, probably.
If you feel like you're being a pussy, you're being a pussy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's pretty fair.
When I spoke with Ferg as well, is we all know what we shouldn't do. So when you're asking yourself when you wake up in the morning and it's should I go to that workout? It's we should, we all know what we should do as well. I probably should go to that fucking workout, rather than
not go.
Yeah, rather than not go. And
we most of the time we know what's good for us and what to do, and then there's fears, excuses, other thoughts that just bubble up. And if you don't decide quick enough, these things will become bigger and bigger and bigger until until they take over, and then you don't end up working out. You know, so it's
Exactly.
like that's that decision, that being indecision too much can just allow those times for stories to fester. Like, oh, I've got this on, I've got that on, maybe I should rest with that, you know, or whatever it is, and then.
I think changing that approach too, like James Honey spoke about it, how when he wasn't training, he'd be watching footage or something like that. So you can take that into life in any aspect. It's like, okay, you're not training, you're doing something else that then makes more time to train next time or whatever it is.
Yeah,
leveling
yourself
up.
Like you might be like, you're not working, but maybe you're like reading,
learning, meditating, whatever it is,
or whatever it is.
I liked that recent reel we posted that I heard from him as well, and it's like about going all in. It's like, when are you going to make that decision to just fucking just go all in on that thing, and what would align you to being number one? Like, when that will make it so easy when it comes to, oh, should I go to that workout? It's like, fucking oath, because number one would go to that workout, you know, and then you're going to quit those excuses. You're going to stop making, you know, have that procrastination of indecision, you know, and then you're losing twice. You've lost in the time it's taking you to think about making the decision, and then by the time you've thought about it for so fucking long, then you won't do it, and then you've missed out on the workout as well. So you've lost twice. Yeah,
that's interesting. Like, that's like comes to goals as well. Having like a goal or like a way you want to be, and then every action or whatever, like you could be like, oh, is this aligning me with this? You know, if I do this, is it aligned with who I want to be? You know, or who I, you know. So it's like, you know, if I eat this cake, it's going to be nice and yummy, but is it going to align me with a fit, healthy version of myself?
Probably
no.
not.
Well, you probably shouldn't do it. You know?
Totally.
So
I think there's with the hustle culture as well, and you know, I think life sometimes you do need a little bit of a sprint, but then, you know, and then you might take the gas pedal off a little bit, and it's knowing and it's having that discernment of when is appropriate to do that. And I think letting people in around you for accountability of that as well is really helpful, but it's also a compassionate thing to do. It's like, hey, I'm going to go hard for 6 weeks here. So you may not see me around as much. I'll make sure my communication's good with you, but also can you hold me accountable? Like, I really want to do this.
I think that's great as well.
Yeah.
And I think that cycles in life where it's like,
you can't be constantly sprinting though.
No, because then you just you end up fucking the gas pedal. You slow down and then you're still trying to go, and it's like, you know, rather than reset and then go. Because I think you get more done in life in a sprint. Like if you go over like a year or the long term, it's like you're gonna go further.
When it's time to sprint, I think. But like it's all about being intentional. This is, I don't know, like correct me if I'm wrong, but it might have felt like before Bali you were trying to sprint when you just couldn't.
Yeah.
So I think just knowing like, okay, now I've got time to jog.
Yeah.
Now's the time to sprint instead of trying to.
And so much clarity came through for me when I was just like trying to took the pressure off myself to like feel like I needed to do these things, and then it came from a want to do these things. And when I'm coming from a want, it's like such a more uplifting and positive place to actually produce my best work, which was, thank you for recalling that, because, it was a great takeaway from me over there as well. And I think that the sustainability in the long run, it's like the hustle culture is all from a fear of this needs to be done now, or I'm going to be a loser, or I'm going to be unsuccessful. And it's bringing awareness to, you know, sometimes the most sustainable and doing things at a rate that is natural to you, not by comparing yourself to the rest of the world, but maybe comparing yourself to the best. And you hear it all the time, you know, just be 1% better than you were yesterday, or, you know, compare yourself to who you were yesterday.
Yeah, compare yourself to yourself.
Yeah, that's what it comes down to. It's like that's going to be sustainable in the long run. Your growth and everything you're doing is exactly as it's supposed to be.
It could be
You're moving
like
at the rate that's natural to you.
Journal prompt, like, you know, compare yourself to who you were 90 days ago. Like,
and that's the beauty
what
of
have you come? What do you need to learn? You know, what's the biggest learnings you've had so far, and what do you need to embody or learn for the next stage? You know, which is pretty comparing against yourself, not, you know, this guy's got that, you know, which is, I don't know. I take motivation, inspiration from other people, but I think subconsciously, like, there's comparison that goes on. I think, you know.
Do you think lots of hustle culture comes from insecurity, or is there a different way for people to frame that, whereas they're hustling for a different reason, or do you feel like a lot of people are hustling because they're scared of something or not sure about something a bit?
Oh, they're covering it up.
Yeah.
With all the hustle and work,
Yeah.
they're covering up other aspects, and
So
because it's glorified, you know, everyone's like, he's doing well, he's okay, he's working real hard, like he's, you know, which a lot of men do that. A lot of men do cover up things by just working real hard, you know, because it's, as a man, like, I believe that is a big reason why we're here, is to work, you know, and do things. But, you know, you hear of some great men, they took their leisure real seriously. You know, they used that, like, they didn't, you know, you hear all the great things and that, but, like, I think to get far, you need to find that balance for long term and sustainability, yeah. So I think, yeah, does that answer your question?
There's a lot of things to this, because something that I've tried to live by as well is, like, practice the life you want to live now. And that doesn't mean, like, do I want to be hustling 24/7 when I'm fucking 40 with kids? Fuck no. I want to be there with my kids. So it's like, how can I integrate the balance and the flow of life with the work, is what, you know, and the work is within the flow too.
Yeah.
You know?
It's like beelining it for, like, the life that you want now. Like, how can I live that life right now and still get done all the stuff that I want to get done?
Yeah, and that's going to make you far more effective and productive within the time that you are, these are my work hours. Because then you're not just, for me, I know I have just, like, you know, just worked over the whole day, and it's probably, I've had moments or blocks where I've been effective, but then I've also had blocks where I'm doing fucking nothing, and just, like, because I feel beholden to my desk. I feel like I've got to be at that desk, got to be productive, bruh. You know, like, it's like, fuck. I feel like it's not our fault though either. I think it's, you know, I think there is a lot of stress, and that's also put on by the fear of the outside world, of people getting ahead, and, you know, a lot of the things I heard a stat as well or something like that. Like, when we boil it all down to why we do everything we do, it's probably because we want to be seen as that, you know. It's like, I want to be seen, you know, and I want to be seen as successful. I want to be seen as a high achiever, or I don't know, like. And there's possibly that reason for a lot of people that's driving them to do the things they're doing.
Yeah. I got a fucking
let's go.
question.
Let's
It's
do it.
like pretty deep, but how would you want people to? What would you want people to say about you at your funeral?
Good question. How do you want to be remembered?
Yeah.
Yeah, so mine would all be based on who I am, not what I did, I guess.
Yeah.
Like, and I think that's a big thing with fighting for me is when I'm fighting, I'm not like thinking, and no one really remembers either. It's like, oh, you did this fight, beat this guy. It's like, but people then remember how you made them feel when you fought. So like a big part of my fighting is everyone celebrating that afterwards together, and giving my family a reason to celebrate together and stuff like that. So I think for me it's, inspiring people through action, being someone that's disciplined, takes action within themselves a little bit as well, not just chasing money and possessions that we can't take with us.
Yeah. Nice, man.
Yeah, I'd agree for sure. I think
You're living that way, brother.
Thank you, bro. Thank you.
Yeah, there you go. You're living in that. You're practicing what you're preaching. Yeah, mate. Yeah, I'd say the same. I think it's like he gave it his all in whatever he did, like, and gave. You know, I want to give more to this world than I ever want to take from it. And that would be leaving a legacy, you know, like someone who actually gave more than they ever took. But like giving in all areas of family, giving to my work, giving to my purpose, giving to my relationships in the world, and that's and giving it like that's something that But someone asked me the other day, was it you? I can't remember. They said, what's your greatest fear or something like this? And it's like exiting this world, not having
done anything,
seen my potential, or not having, leaving.
What's your like biggest driver?
I don't know. Is it I feel like I operate out of like subconscious, just like giving, but then my greatest driver would probably be like family. Like I don't my unborn family and stuff.
You're creating a life.
Yeah, and I want them to come into this life with good quality humans around them, because that will have that safety. Like to make this place a more safe and loving places means like I've got to kind of make my circle of influence and the environment around me good to bring them up in. So that's
beautiful.
Yeah. How about yourself?
Yeah, pretty similar. To be honest. I wanted to give love to this world and help it be a more like loving place. I think is definitely one of my main things. I reckon like love is a big thing that's going to change the world. So acting with love and spreading love and caring. Being remembered by driving more love into this world would be awesome. And then and then family. That's like family's huge. Creating a good life, a great life where I have time with my family, and being like abundant with how I can live my life that'll align me to also help people around me, and then people within my influence, and then through that it just ripples out. I think for me, I want the world to be more connected, more love, and have more people. Those things like love and connection are like big for me. And then through the nature of our work, the health, that's like a big driver through that. Like the health, the fitness, the connection, that's a big driver to open up into the other spaces of like love and connection. Fucking dude that gave it a crack and fucking did his best and acted in alignment. I think that's a big thing for me. I might want to be in alignment, and if I feel myself out of alignment, I fucking don't like it. I'm like, fuck, like, because I just know I'm not doing my best, or like something. If I know if I'm acting in alignment, I'm therefore impacting and influencing and doing things that are going to have more impact. One other thing, I'd rather have like as well. I'd rather be. I want to be like more impactful rather than like one of those people that just grind the gears. Like I'd rather be more like with whatever I do, just be like the impact is there, and it's like rather than just the amount of like time,
reps,
make the moment. I got that from like even sport, I reckon, because I used to like get lots of touches in footy and all that stuff, and I'm like. Like the best players and the players that really change the games, like their kicks count. Yeah. And I want my things to like count and move the needle forward, where it's like, oh, that move mattered, and rather than it's like, seen as like I don't want to necessarily be seen as like doing too much, rather do the impact.
Then that comes back to our ability to rest and make those moments count more.
Yeah, for sure.
But it's interesting that a lot of what we all just said then was not on what you're able to do, but what you're willing to do. A lot of it, it's like, who do you want to show up as, rather than like, what can you do? And it's like a lot of the most talented people in the world have been the ones to end up killing themselves, like, which is just wild. That, like, you know, that's the thing. You look at it from the outside and you go like, they must never be insecure about anything, but like, because they're not doing the action or whatever, they just happen to have talent, then that can lead to...
Do you think to live a healthy life, you got to live for things beyond yourself? You know, you say family and legacy and what you're creating here, and you mentioned all family and stuff as well. Like, do you feel that's healthy?
I would say that would extrapolate that hustle culture, like we said, like that fast-paced stuff, because it's like, when we're all talking about family, we don't even have that, you know. Like, we don't, but you know, like we've got our own family, we have our mother and father that we've come from, but we don't have our own family, and so these things that we want to bring forth are like out, you know, it's time, like, so when you extrapolate the this is now, it's like, no, something that we're aiming for is actually over a longer time horizon, which takes out the pressure of the now. Potentially. So
I think it comes down to purpose. As long as you know, like, as long as you have a purpose, I think is...
Yeah, because they say that people, you know, that think about themselves too much and worry about themselves, they're the people that are anxious and depressed. And you were saying before, or when we were sort of doing a bit of research before, therapy culture, where you just talk about your problems, like almost, like, what's your thoughts on that? Like, what's your thoughts on, the therapy culture?
Yeah, I think talking about stuff without action is, like, only leads to more focus on what the issue is, instead of actually just trying
the addiction
to, like,
now.
Yeah.
You're practicing that, you know.
You're ingraining it, like, you talk about your problem, you're ingraining it. Oh, it is a problem. Like, fuck, you know.
Yeah, totally.
You know,
rather
than, and what you focus on grows. That's just like a fucking law of the universe, I feel like. So it's like,
some big questions.
Bloody
oath.
Path of purpose, they got to be huge, mate.
Yeah, right. Something you've made me reflect on something that I noticed in Bali as well, and this is, like, not to try and digress too much, but
that's what we're about here.
And like, I love what you said about love. You know what I mean? Like, to spread more love, and I had this moment where I had a couple of moments where I noticed people flexing about the prices of Balinese food. Like, oh man, this is, you know, 20K. This is like $2 Australian in front of the Balinese people. And I'm like, dude, like, you have been so fortunate to be born in a country that has got a greater economy than these guys, and you're lucky enough to be entering where they're accepting you, you know. And so the last that, like, I was just like, I felt embarrassed. Like, I was like, geez, I just, you know, this is not love.
Not very compassionate, is it?
No, it's like you're staying right in front of that guy who's, you know, and I think just having that awareness as well, it's like, it just did not sit well with me, and I was so aware of, like, myself even saying, you know, like, because, you know, these guys are working, like, from 6 a.m. they're up there, and then they're still serving at probably midnight before they shut, because they've got to make a living to provide
crazy
for the
work
family.
ethic, eh?
Crazy work ethic. 100%.
Yeah.
And
you think, like, you think about working hard, and then you see people overseas or certain things, you're like, jeez.
Yeah.
It's such a good example of what we were just talking about, though. Like, they're working mad hours, and they're some of the happiest people in the world.
Yeah, totally.
And then we're here talking about our problems. We're like, go live there for a bit and see if we have problems. Like,
have your eyes open.
Yeah, perspective, It's the power of perspective is huge.
Yeah. On my first day, actually, when I walked out and I met this lovely lady, Julia, and she owned this cafe that I was in, and she said, yes, the Balinese, we're born with smiles, you know. And she said, you know, a lot of people will look in and they'll say, oh, they're very poor. They live very poor lives. And she said, but we are so rich internally. We are so rich internally, and it's like that's what more people need in this world, man. Is just fucking to love themselves for who they are and just be grateful for every...
Yeah, a lot of those poorer countries have a huge sense of community. And also they kind of have to, because they are poorer and community helps you support yourself. But it's like they're so happy through that community. Like I've been to a few like Papua New Guinea and certain things like that, and you can just see they're so connected to one another and they're so giving. They don't have much, but like here, and we'll come back, and here, like, you know, we help each other out. You know, where it's like I think in a lot of modern world and first world countries, because we don't necessarily need that community to survive. But you see, I think that's a big reason why people like anxiety and depression and that is just not having that connectedness with other people.
It creates empathy over there because they see it and they understand it because they've felt it, because they've probably gone through a little bit of adversity with their finances and stuff like that. Whereas for us, who grow up with a silver spoon, you don't know empathy because you've never understand the other side of the coin, if that makes sense.
I had these people bought my car last night, and they drove down late last night from Kombucha or whatever. It was like 2 hours away, and they're from Kiribati, which is this small island off America, I reckon. And you know, they're probably only like newly here, but like out piles the car like a little kid, and like the dad, the son, the mum, the grandma, you know, they're all in there, and they're like, oh, you know, they're still like, they just seem so calm and happy, like, can we use your toilet? And like coming in, it was just like this big family affair. And, you know, you can see they've banded together to really try and make this life work over here. And it was so like wholesome, like just seeing the, you know, everyone, they're just so like happy and casual, and they just treat me as like, you know, they just treated me very well, and like that, I don't know, like I really like those people. They just, you know, that real sense of community, and it just looked like a bunch of fun. Like I'm sure that was a good car trip.
Yeah,
everyone in there, they looked pretty tight in there. I was like, God damn, who else is in here? Like, far out. How many people can fit in this car?
Yeah, I think bringing that back to that love, and it makes me think, because I think fear is what is preventing people from giving more, because they're fearful that if they give, that person's probably going to take advantage of them by getting more ahead of them in life or something like that. And then that also links back to what you were saying about the anxiety and depression, I reckon, because they're fearful of letting everyone know where they're at. They're like, oh, I'm actually not, you know, I'm not my best self. I'm not feeling really well, but I'm too fearful, especially in guys with, you know, 575,000 guys taking their lives per year. It's like that there is a stat that's, you know, there's 3 out of 4 suicides are men in the world. And it's like, well, why men? And it's because it's like that identity piece of like, oh, I have to appear strong on the external, but really internally I'm collapsing, and you know, I can't hold all this pressure. And I think that's because they don't
ask for help.
Ask for help, which is and that's like such a loving thing to do, is to ask for help, is to give, rather than feeling like you're gonna drain someone, or you're gonna, you know, let someone down, or like that it's now fear of asking for help. That
appearance to like be strong. There's I think a big thing in that, in males, is like you got to appear to be strong.
That's it.
I think there's 2 parts to that. Like, men don't want to give love because a lot of men don't know how to take love. Whereas then when someone takes it the wrong way, or they shut it down really quick, then it automatically turns that person away from giving more love.
And instead of take, maybe like they don't know how to receive love. But I fully feel that
it's a better word.
I think because I think the to receive is just like without rather than take anyway. But I definitely think that's the case, and I think it's because to learn, sometimes you have to be shown.
Yeah.
And, through the whole shift, and I think this is a really beautiful time that we're all living in, because fuck, man, like, my brother's telling me he loves me after hanging up on, after we exit every conversation. So was my other brother. So was my sister. But, like, at once upon a time, there was probably no way my father would have said after he exits a phone call with his dad, hey, love you, Dad. And it's like, what harm is that or doing to that person? It's like, man, if that person was to die tomorrow, you would be holding a lot of guilt, shame, and regret that you didn't let them know how much you loved them. And that's something that, Yeah,
there's a fear around showing love sometimes,
Yeah, that's kind of...
kind of interesting,
Especially between men. Because that's where the whole stigma of, like, that's gay comes through, Like, that's been the taboo, and that's the bridge that we're crossing here is men actually banding together is stronger than the lone wolf mentality or the isolating, as you've pointed out. That is actually, there's more weakness in that than there is strength.
Yeah. Would you rather appear strong or actually be strong? It's like,
and strength is internal as well. It's a decision within yourself. It's like how you show up in a room will, people will be attracted to whether they feel like if you're strong enough internally, then you'll know that when someone says, oh, that's gay, or they're trying to give you a negative bit of poison, they're trying to pass poison onto you, your internal strength is going, that's your thing, bro. Oh, that's not mine. I'm solid in myself,
It's so visible too, I think. You can totally tell when someone's trying to appear strong.
Yeah.
I feel that anyway. I can just see it from a mile away.
Yeah, totally.
You're hiding from something. I can see that.
Yeah. And maybe, like, it's a protective mechanism, They might not, sometimes in life, maybe you do have to appear strong because something has to happen, but you've got to deal with it at some point, because you can't just appear strong, and you want to be truly strong, right? And that comes from within. It's how do you guys go about building your strength?
I guess I've because a lot of the shit I do is like masculine shit, you know what I mean, like fighting and blah 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 blah. I think that's allowed me to show that more, if that makes sense. Like I don't feel like I need to be strong.
Yeah.
Because like I don't
this
have
guy
to, I don't have to prove that to anyone.
Yeah.
He's like, fucking strong.
He's got proof.
Yeah.
He's got proof.
Yeah.
That's cool, yeah.
But whether that's the answer for, I don't know. Obviously, you don't have to go and fight someone, but...
Well, there's lots of answers, I think. I think sticking to your word is another one, and just being strong is probably also, like, acting authentically, and
that's a big part
acting
of it.
aligned, because it's like you trust yourself.
Yeah. I think that strength is from how much you love yourself.
Yeah.
It's like how much does this go, like that strength is shown by, like, oh man, this guy loves himself. Why? Because he's showing up at training at 4:15. He clearly loves himself enough to respect his body and train like that discipline with himself to be there at that time.
Yeah.
How much does this guy love himself? Like how strong is this guy? Oh man, you can tell he loves the hell out of his partner. Man, he's like going out of his way to ensure like she is feeling like really fucking good about herself, and that relationship's so strong as a resemblance of the love that he has for himself and that he's able to now give to others. So I don't know, I think it's like strength is like, definitely that self-love thing. It's like how much does because that's how much you can give to the world as well.
Love and giving are like twins,
hand in hand.
Yeah.
Totally.
Yeah.
What's that Tony Robbins quote? Give to live or something? What is it?
Oh.
The key to living is giving, I think. So
yeah.
Says,
Yeah, that's so true. I noticed that from everything that we said as well, as like was service.
Yeah.
Like when we were talking about like how do you want to go out, and everything was like giving, which is like service. I want to bring good into this world. I want to serve others. I want to, serve the people around me. I want to, my family.
It's a cool thing, eh?
For sure.
We're up for time.
I think we're just about ready to wrap this one up, fellas.
Yeah.
The one thing I think this has been a big sort of topic around community and the importance of community. But yeah, how has community benefited your life?
My life, fuck. Just.
And what's your example of that?
Connection and love, and I think that's the biggest thing. Is just connecting with people and like being heard, and you're growing together with other people. You don't feel so isolated. Like you're growing together. But yeah, it's the connection piece. For me, I really quite enjoy that with the other humans. Like, just, there's other humans out here living as well, and you get to connect together and bond over similar interests and similar things that you're going about. And communities supported me, helped me out, like, many times, where it's like I've needed help, and there's been community there to help me, which is. Like, that's super grateful for that. Like, imagine, it's been a backbone community in many aspects throughout my life. Like, it's helped me a lot.
I've been kind of fortunate that I've been around communities my whole life. Like, starting with football is a big part of my life, and then like, I'm glad I started football before fighting, because fighting's obviously a lot more individual-based performances and stuff like that. So, being a team player first then allows you, I think, to be a better individual athlete as well. But as far as, like, being here goes, it's brought out a lot in me, just being around good people that are willing to talk about things like, we just spoke about love for an hour. You know what I mean? Like, just normalising that, I think, is so important for the world, because it gets away from that whole, like, oh, that's whack to talk about that.
Yeah, totally. Yeah.
Whereas it just becomes normal.
Yeah.
And I grew up in, with two brothers, and it was, who's tougher and blah, blah, blah. And we didn't talk about love or anything like that. Yeah. So just normalising that, I think, is so powerful.
Yeah. Yeah, I love
cool,
that takeaway. Yeah. Normalising love, eh? It's
normalising our conversation about love.
Yeah, for me, I think what you said about, and what Jayden Russo said as well, is like just realising that you're not alone, and that, like you said as well, is like stronger together. Like, growing together is so much fun, and you can go and pay for all the advice in the world. You can go and pay boatloads of dollars to learn something that you could gain from free, from just having the accessibility to someone who has done it before you within a community. And it's just, that's worth its weight in gold. That could be worth that could be worth getting you out of a really hard place. And it could also be worth it to propel you forward to the dream that you've always wanted to achieve. So, for me, it's just been so awesome to have like-minded people have my back and have my best interests at heart, and to be there to support me in times of need and when times are tough. And I think every person needs some shape of community, because it's like a family. And if you've come from a big family and you don't know what that feels like, get out there and experience it. Like, you gotta experience that shit.
We go crazy without each other. Like, think of isolation in prison. It's like the worst thing they all talk about.
Yeah.
You see prison shows or whatever. Don't send me to isolation. It's like, how important is community?
Exactly. You go insane.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Literally go insane.
Yeah. Community just makes you feel so human. Realising that we're so we are so like similar in ways as well as we are different. But yeah, we feel connected. Communities, yeah, it's on the rise for sure. Community, and I think people have realised over COVID and certain things, and like how important it is. You think of all the run clubs that started up, and
just thinking that.
Yeah, it's wild. It's on the rise, and it's like it's such an impactful part of health and your quality of life.
100%. Yeah,
Anyway.
leave it at that, I reckon.
Get around a good community.
Get around a good community.
Get around.
Wherever you're at.
Yeah, come down to Brotherhood.
That's right. Come on down. Try us out.
That's it.
You won't regret it. Thanks very much for everyone for tuning in for another epic episode of The Path of Purpose. We're grateful to have you along, and we will be here for another one next week.
We love you all.
We love you all.
Yeah, love you all.
Take some love, spread that out into the world. Let's go.
Nice.
Ciao.